Gotta find some joy in today. You know,
Oh, we have joy for today. We have two new senators.
man. Listen, let me explain something. I mean, I'm ecstatic. I feel like we did something, and when I say we, I mean me and the state of Georgia. Because I went and I did my 1-2 vote thing, and yeah, Reverend Raphael Warnock is now Senator Reverend Raphael Warnock, and my guy Johnny.
John Ossoff finally made it.
Yeah, and you know what's crazy?
3 elections shouting.
The wild thing is John Ossoff had the harder job. He had to be an incumbent who is entrenched in Georgia politics. I think Raphael Warnock has the more historic win, obviously, being the first black senator in the history of Georgia.
Wait, hold on. Are we on? Oh, okay.
Yes.
Because I just wanted to make sure that we're not, listen, sis, we're not going to start the new year with this, just jump into a fucking conversation and let niggas figure it out along the way. This is a fucking podcast, goddammit. Okay? We are structured and organized, and we have a start and a finish, and none of those things are true because I didn't even know we were here. But here we are.
I was doing a podcast for me and my
niggas. I want them to invite all they niggas to come and listen too.
Mikey was recording.
Hey guys, Happy New Year. I'm a little sleepy. I ain't even gonna hold you.
I had my Yeti.
What's in it?
Ice cold water. Yes, I'm from Philadelphia. I say water.
You say water? Like a water ice?
Water, room.
Like a water ice?
That's yo, get out of my room.
Room?
A lot of people thought that was funny when Meek said it.
So here, welcome, friends and new people, to season 2 of the Chopping Block podcast.
Happy that's a thing. 2021, y'all.
It's 2021. We have made it out of the hood ass section of the world called 2020. We survived. My first my first Facebook post after New Year's was "Nigga, we made it." I feel like that's a win.
Mm-hmm.
I can't find our live. Anyway, guys, this is a podcast that is centered around music, but like, you know, we are human beings who live in the world and, you know, are privy to things happening and affected by things happening. And so our conversations are not always music conversations. But there are always great conversations. And so today we have to start with the fact that, like white folks went crazy in the Capitol. White folks went crazy in DC.
Absolutely went crazy. And they allowed them to go crazy.
And we're allowed to go crazy. So if you were under a rock, and you're like completely disconnected from social media, but connected to us, which, you know, I would love very much. That would be really dope. But like, obviously, today was the day that the Senate was coming together to count the electoral votes. This is by and large a ceremonial process. It has happened since there's been an electoral college, right? So we vote. That shit is largely symbolic in a way, but not really, because they finally made it to where the electoral college or the electors have to vote. Yeah, they have to vote along. Their votes have to match the popular vote, right? Boom. So y'all voted in November. The electors voted in December. Your man, DT, said out of his fucking mouth that if the electoral college voted for Biden, that he would gracefully bow out. They did that shit before Christmas, you guys. It's been official since before Christmas. Okay, cool. So now today is the day where Congress comes together and officially counts out Joe Biden's 306 electoral votes. He needed 270 to win. He has 306. Your man DT knew that people were encouraged his followers to come to DC to protest. Got on TV this morning, or went and addressed these people this morning on social media, I believe, And basically, like, y'all remember when he told the Proud Boys and them to stand by and stand down or whatever the fuck he said during that last presidential debate? Well, he gave them the word. He came out and hit them with that General Cornrow Wallace, that ooh, ooh,
Oh,
ooh,
but
ooh.
see, but he also actually went outside and stood on the stage and did it.
Oh, yeah. So he went in front of them and did it.
So him, Rudy Giuliani, whatever that quack doctor is, you know who wasn't there? Mike Pence.
Mike Pence. Yo, Mike Pence. Just like Trump was like, the vice president has the power to like throw out any electoral votes. And Mike Pence hit him with that hard that
I'm not gonna
meme
be
from
able to
Friday.
do it.
Like, nah, I'm not doing that shit. Mike Pence has come out and issued a statement decrying the violence that happened in DC today. Like it's nuts. And we've all kind of been sitting there like, y'all are literally doing less about people storming a federal building in the capital of these United States than y'all were about niggas threatening the CNN sign, not even the building, the CNN sign, the privately owned CNN sign that stood outside of rich ass Ted Turner's privately owned building, or whoever owns that building. I don't know if he does, but I'm sure that he has a stake in it. So we've watched that happen. Everything is pointing towards. So we just did a chat on. I did a chat on Clubhouse, a room on Clubhouse with my guys from Atlanta Influences Everything. Because this is something that I've mentioned before, I think, but I really like. It's really important for us to talk about now, which is every 4 years people are coming to our heads telling us to vote, telling us to register, telling us to vote. And then most of us don't have a single conversation about politics until the next election cycle. And so we wanted to have a conversation about, what the next step is. Like, okay, now the elections are officially finally over. The Senate runoff here in Georgia yesterday was the last election of the 2020 election cycle. Is done. I still got 2 more mailers in the mail today, but that's cool. The mail is slow. They're probably gonna get some more before the end of the week.
Bro, we got like, oh my God.
So many. That's the only thing. I think that's the only thing in my recycling bin right now is all just like voting ads. But so what do we do next? So one of the people that jumped into the room was Kwanzaa Hall, who was a former city council member here in Atlanta, and who was elected to finish out the term of Representative John Lewis when he passed away back in November. So Kwanzaa's in DC now, still kind of finishing out that term. And he told us that there was a bill introduced tonight, 2 bills introduced tonight, one an article of impeachment and the other one invoking I think it's the 25th Amendment that says the president can be removed if he's lost his mind. The word they use is incapacitated. But I don't think that Trump makes it to January 20th.
Yeah, I don't see it either.
I don't see it. This is too much. What happened today? Let me tell y'all something. The tea is that what happened today is absolutely a matter of national security, not a threat to national security. Because if there is, in fact, somebody out there that has it for America like that, that's gunning for America like that, you just showed them that niggas could get into the freaking Capitol. It's possible. It's possible. A gun was pulled on a senator. These people were in there taking pictures in these offices. And if you've ever worked in a federal building, if you've ever entered a federal building, you can't go into the immigration office with your phone on. You can't go through customs with your phone on, right? These guys in there sitting at people's desks and taking selfies, stealing furniture. Who knows what else was taken out of there? So I don't think Trump makes it to January 20th. And because he's going to act the ass, I think he goes straight from the White House to jail cell.
So these people are idiots. There's a lot of tape. One person was killed. This was an insurrection led by the commander in chief, an unstable little man who can't accept that he was defeated. And he's already been rejected by his own party. They said, we're not with the shits, bro. Like, we're good. We can't go that far. Even Lindsey Graham said, I can't go on this ride with you. You know what I'm saying?
That's
Even
wild. Your
Mitch was
man
like,
Mitch got up this morning and was like, "Hey guys, I hear you,
right,
but
yeah. Mitch
there's
said this
rules and
ain't it.
regulations to this shit."
Nah, Mitch ain't for it. I mean, you had your opportunity. You fought your fight in all these various states, and you went through all the law, the legal steps you could take, and you wasted everybody's time. You wasted a bunch of money, only to find nothing. And it wasn't really ever about that. It wasn't. Let's be clear. It wasn't about an election. Trump was toast the moment we went to the polls. What it's about is maintaining that base, and what it's about is maintaining that energy that has been created. Trumpism is bigger than Trump, right? So, what you have right now is you have a group of people that they figured out are a powerful voting bloc, or they think were a powerful enough voting bloc to take over the country. I think what they'll find is it wasn't enough. And once again, that's why you see a state like Georgia going blue all the way. Not only voted for the president, but also voted not one, but two senators of the Democratic Party, which officially gives Democrats the upper hand in the Senate. They have the upper hand in the House, and they got the president and vice president.
Well, now they're tied. They're right. There you go. They're tied in the Senate. They have the vice president, and then they have the.
Well,
upper
that's why I
hand in the
said
House.
upper hand. Yeah, because in the Senate, the tie vote, the tiebreaker is the vice president. So that gives them one more vote.
So Mitch McConnell is no longer the majority leader.
Thank God.
But even he, like I said this morning, was like, "Nah, fam, I'm good. Love and joy." So anyway, y'all enjoy this. I don't know if it's the season finale of America, if it's the season premiere of the new season of America, if it's the series finale. I don't know what y'all got going on.
But let's think about it. All these toothless, inbred, angry folks drove in their pickup trucks from places like Florida and Portland and all these other places with their little militias into the nation's capital.
Because they don't live in DC.
And a couple niggas sprinkled in there actually, but not very many. And they proceeded to protest, which is cool. If you protesting, brother, do your thing. Protest. Go ahead.
Right.
But
that's literally in y'all constitution, right?
But then they went up to the Congress. Yes, it is. Right to peacefully assemble. Then they went up to the Congress and then start breaking down the damn windows. And then, it just went off the rails. White peopled at the epic maximum amount of white peopling allowed by law. And then some. So, unfortunate. But it happened. So now, we should have just woke up today, went through this procedural thing, but because Josh Hawley, who's a fucking asshole, and Ted Cruz,
who's another fucking asshole.
Yo, is
Ted Cruz still married to the lady that Trump called ugly?
I'm pretty sure she is.
Ugly or married? So. Oh, you said pretty sure he is. Because I just can't imagine what that's like. Like you riding for the nigga that dissed me on like an international platform, and you're out here doing this dumb shit.
Yeah. Wow. So but look at it. Little Hands, Marco Rubio, dumb Lindsey Graham, he's dissed all those people, and they became his biggest supporters. Why? Because their constituents are Trumpers. Their constituents were activated. So they got to go along. Now, mind you, I need people to understand this. Politicians do not have set agendas. Politicians go with their constituents' wishes. So if all the constituents decide to wake up and wear chicken suits, then you're going to see that person wearing a fucking chicken suit.
Please say it again.
Politicians go with the whims of their constituents.
And who are their constituents?
The people.
There you go. I just want to reiterate that.
So, and let's be clear, that includes Joe Biden. Joe Biden went from damn near racist to champion for black people and gays and blah blah blah. And it's not even bullshit. Where he's from has changed that much. He still represents, or he represented, the state of Delaware.
Mm-hmm.
And Delaware in the 60s, 70s, 80s were completely different. You know, growing up in Pennsylvania, growing up in Philadelphia, 5 minutes from Delaware, depending on where you are.
Right.
I can tell you that it's changed. And in order for them to stay in office, they got to ride that wave. So that's the way it went. Shit's crazy, but that's what these guys do. That's why it's so important that we as people understand our actual power. And we hold these motherfuckers accountable. So, yeah. So also, guys, we want to welcome. Were you on Clubhouse last week? You were on Clubhouse last week, right? For our last episode.
Mikey was setting it up as we were recording the show.
Okay. So we got both Ty and Mikey on Clubhouse.
Excuse me, I don't have a party hat anymore. I'm a veteran. Oh. I'm an expert. I can teach an onboarding. I can teach you how to wield your influence on Clubhouse to generate $1 million. I know how to do that already. Okay.
Follow for follow. Okay.
Follow for follow. So I just saw. I'm joking. I've been on Clubhouse for 2 weeks, and I've been on Clubhouse a total of 10 times. 3 of those times I was hosting a room. So, I be in there. I pop in, pop out.
I've been on Clubhouse probably 60 of the last 72 hours.
God bless you. I wanted to talk about my one time that Clubhouse kept me up past my bedtime so far. But before we go there, I just wanted to acknowledge the legend MF Doom, because we found out that he had passed away literally an hour after we released the last episode. So it was the morning after we recorded it. Because we recorded did we record on Wednesday night or Thursday morning?
We recorded on Wednesday late.
Yeah, so we recorded Wednesday night. We dropped the episode on Thursday afternoon, and we found out maybe an hour later, or in the inverse. As we were I had scheduled it to go live, and then we found out that he passed away. I'm not a dick rider, so I'm not going to sit here and tell y'all that I was a huge MF Doom fan. I'm not familiar with his character like that.
Why are we at a place? And this is not for you, but I'm just wondering why we at a place where we have to do that.
I'm just saying, because when people pass away, then everybody's like, "Oh my God, rest in peace." I'm so affected, and it's I wasn't affected like that because I was not necessarily familiar with his music like that. My closest personal experience with him was a year where we did South by Southwest, and he was supposed to, when he had that project out with Ghostface, we were all convinced that he was going to actually be there with Ghostface to perform, and then he joined us via Skype or something from some island somewhere. That is my closest personal experience. I have a lot of we have a lot of friends in common, but I'm not going to sit here and act like I was this huge fan or whatever. That's the only reason why I said it like that. And not to say that all the other people that said that they were huge fans weren't, but I'm just not one of those people. But I do know that, he meant a lot to the culture. I do know that he was an impactful figure. And, what's wild is the fact that he passed away on Halloween, and the family released a statement 2 months later to the date on December 31st.
Yes, on New Year's Eve. So I was I'd become a Doom fan after a while, and Doom. I was dating my ex-girlfriend who was really into discovering. I call her a hip hop historian because she didn't really live a lot of this stuff. Because she's a little bit younger than me, but she kind of came up and was into Wu-Tang heavy, was into certain circles, the Dilla and all that stuff. She was one of them backpack kids. I'd say probably of the, of the mid to late 2000s, who weren't necessarily around for the 90s, but who really respected that era of music. And she was heavy in the Dilla, and Madlib, Champion Sound, Mad Villainy played me, the Food joint, and I heard this record where he's making fun of Busta Rhymes, and it's called One Beer, and I'm just like, yo, this nigga's crazy.
Why is it called One Beer?
Because he goes, it's only one beer left. Rappers in my ears all screaming like we're deaf or something.
Oh
I
shit.
might have messed that up, but and I'm just like, yo, it's like whimsical, you know what I'm saying? And like that entire album, all of the songs are food themed. You know what I'm saying? So I thought that was clever. And as an MC, I really respected his pen. But then I realized like, oh, this cat's a dope producer too. Because he also produced a bunch of my favorite joints off of the Fishkill album. For Ghostface, who's like Ghostface is probably maybe my second, third favorite rapper of all time.
Okay.
Behind Jay-Z. You know what I'm saying? I'll say Jay. I'll put him up there with Big and Cam as like my favorite. And then you got the 2 Chainz, the Andre 3000s, whatever, the T.I.s. But I love Ghostface. And, I just developed this respect for Doom. And it was never like, being from the Northeast, you got certain circles. And I was listening to Capone Noriega and, I was listening to like the Dun rap when it came to New York, or like the hood rap, the drug dealer rap. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was the type of that was my
speaking the Dun language.
Absolutely, you know what I'm saying? Like with the drilly, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we were very funny in the 90s. We were funny in the 90s.
Absolutely, everything about the 90s was funny.
Everything,
but like so I
because these kids are too cool to copy off of their favorite rappers. Sorry, go ahead.
Absolutely. So I got into Doom. Became a fan of his work. Went back and checked out, joints that I had missed or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then my OG, we used to do this club called Fluid, which is like a legendary nightclub in Philly. Birth parties like
it was here.
Mad Decent Monday, Questlove, Mike Nice, King Britt, a bunch of legendary DJs, but he did this, Aronde was the door guy and the manager. So he was the bouncer and he was the manager. But Aronde was about 6'6". He was like the black version of Hagrid from Harry Potter. Big, husky dude, but like a complete teddy bear. Unless you was talking about hip hop. And this guy was like a hip hop dictionary. And we sit outside and Doom, you know what I'm saying? Doom got this song called Monday Night at Fluid, and he did it because one night he was here and he, telling us mad wild stories. And Aronde passed some years ago, I believe around 2015, 2016. And but still to this day, every time I think of Doom, I tie those two together.
Right.
Because he was just like a huge Doom fan. And he put me on to a lot of that information.
And that's funny because my homegirl Bieber was saying that like that's how his music was. Like most people will tell you that their appreciation of Doom is tied to the fact that they were introduced to his music by somebody that they love dearly. And so that's my jam, but also it reminds me of this person in this time. Like I feel like that about the America's Nightmare album by Mobb Deep. Was an album that like me and my ex played to death on like road trips and played it around the house or whatever. So there's never a time where I can listen to that project and not think about my ex, right? So like I again, the beauty, I think it's an admirable thing for somebody's impact to be strong enough that even without listening to their music, that you could, it's undeniable. You can't say that it's, what I'm saying, like that he wasn't who he was. So like I said, I just wanted to make sure that we acknowledged the legend, the myth, MF Doom. sending love out to his family and his friends and his fans. Yeah, let's get back to we talked about the craziness that's happening in the White House, or I mean in the Capitol. No updates there other than the fact that Jon Ossoff became officially senator in the midst of all that craziness, and now I'm just waiting for them to tell us when they are ready to get old boy out the paint. So the other night, why you shake your head at like that? You look so disappointing.
Oh no, because I'm looking at the screen and this fuck shit.
You looking at the news?
Yeah.
So the other night there was a room on Clubhouse called Snoop Dogg versus Eminem, Why It's Bad for the Culture. And it was one of I intentionally curated my Clubhouse, like who I follow on Clubhouse, so it doesn't too closely mirror what's going on my other timelines, right? And so I don't follow all of like my writer friends, or all the writers that I know, but like whenever I see like 3, 4, 5 hip hop journalists that I know in a room, I'll usually peek my head in. This room was being moderated by Van Lathan. No, yeah, Van Lathan or Van Jones, Van Lathan.
Van Lathan.
Royce 5'9" and somebody else named Bishop. I forget what his Bishop something. I forget what his name was. So I popped in, popped out, popped back in, popped back out, popped back in at a point where Miles Jones came in there and said that Eminem is not nice. That if Eminem was not white, that people would not herald Eminem the way that they do.
People keep saying that.
So, of course, that was going to start a conversation. I want to go on record by saying that I'm not saying that it has anything to do with his whiteness, and I'm not saying that he's not nice. I'm just saying that I've never been as impressed by M as most people.
Everyone says that, so clearly it's a thing.
No, but it's not a thing for me. Like it's like I was a fan.
I'm just saying clearly it's a thing for people because that's especially now. I didn't hear it a lot when he was at his peak, but clearly it's a thing because that's a talking point that a lot of people, not just you, but clearly Mouse and a bunch of other people are on the Eminem isn't as good as we think he is train.
So I was a fan of the singles. Like at one point, I had a fake nickname that was some kind of play on Slim Shady. I ain't never been Slim, always been shady. So in a way, so I had some kind of nickname that was based on that. Like I was a fan of the singles. I still know all the singles or whatever. I was a fan of like the joints that he had on the Chronic 2001, whatever. But like I'm one of the rare people that skips Renegade every time I listen to the Black Album. Like I don't like that song. And I'm not a huge fan of like when Eminem appears on a song and also produces the song, I'm usually not a big fan of it. But I don't walk around trying to convince other people of how I feel about it. It's just not for me. And y'all know I should probably get a shirt that says that like, I'm just because I say it's not for me doesn't mean that I think it's whack. It's just not for me. But anyway, Mouse came in there and flat out was like, nah, it's whack. And y'all only like it because he's white. And of all the people to jump up and agree was one very Caucasian, Dave Mays, co-founder of The Source. Now, for those of you who weren't around in those days, one of the big things that kind of undid The Source was that The Source had this ridiculous, never-ending beef with Eminem. It wasn't really The Source's beef. It was probably just Benzino's beef, but it was allowed to play out in The Source. So they were like anti-Eminem cartoons, all kinds of crazy shit. That conversation was my first foray into letting Clubhouse keep me awake for like 3 hours more than what I had planned on being awake. Because that shit was hilarious, y'all. Like that man was sitting there saying that the Eminem was an industry plant, that basically Eminem was part right, The Eminem was part of a plot by the music industry. This is a white man saying this now. The Eminem was part of a ploy by the music industry to take power away from Black people. In
a white man said this.
A white man said this.
Listen, I was
and
there.
His like, I can say this. His reason why he felt like he was in a position to say this is because, you know, he created the Source. So, but Eminem was the industry plant that was brought in to take control away from Black people in hip hop. And he kept, so of course he's saying all this shit and he's pissing Royce off, right? But then he starts saying like all this historically inaccurate shit. And now not only are we all laughing at him, but now Just Blaze, who is like a walking almanac, hip hop almanac, is annoyed because this man is like screaming loud and wrong all these historical facts that are not actually correct.
Well, I mean, obviously, because like everything you said to me in the last 3 minutes has been inaccurate, but
yo, but he was really like, he was there, he wanted receipts, and so then they started asking him like, yo, like, how did you allow Benzino's album to get 4 mics in the Source? Like, what was that about? And where's journalistic integrity? So now he was against the ropes, defending the legacy of the Source.
So let's just, for the audience, let's just be clear. Dave Mays and the Source and Benzino waged a war against Eminem that went on for some time.
Yeah.
So, you know, even the fact, like, Dave Mays speaking on Eminem is like the most asinine, shouldn't happen thing. Like, if it was like a character witness in a trial, and it, you know, like, you know, where you can't be biased or whatever, or if he was a juror, they would have kicked his ass off the jury. Like, bro, why are you here to speak on somebody who we all know you hate?
And what's nuts is, you know, maybe 2 weeks ago, there was a room about the legacy of the Source, and Dave came in there, and the way that he spoke and the way that he addressed the former staffers that were in there and everything, it was almost like he had managed to kind of distance himself from all the yuckiness of those anti-Eminem years.
Oh, he thinks he
did. He undid all of that shit.
The only thing he did was get lost, because nobody's worried about Dave Mays or where the hell he's been for the last however many years. And the Source's relevancy, I mean, I really couldn't tell you the last time the Source has been relevant, because XXL came and took they fucking lunch money.
So if you go on Hip Hop DX, or I guess on YouTube, there's a clip of the audio from that conversation. But, you know, Royce was a moderator, so Royce kept kicking Dave off the stage. Let me tell you, the funniest shit that happened is that at one point, so Dave Mays was saying that there's a video out there of Eminem saying the N-word, and how are we allowing him to still survive in this space, and this, that, and the third.
All right.
And then he was like, you know, well, what has Eminem ever done to give back to the community that he's gaining from? And, you know, Royce like kind of shut him down on that too. So then they kicked Dave off the stage, and fucking Macklemore comes in the room. Yo, I saw Macklemore on the stage and lost it. Before that man said anything, I lost it.
So let me just, before we go any further, because we've said a lot, but nobody's defending Eminem. So, and I don't need caveats. When Eminem first started rapping and was doing scribble jams, he was eating up your favorite fucking MCs. The one person he didn't eat up was Rhymefest, and Rhymefest will tell you about that every time you see him. And that's a great achievement in Rhymefest's career. But Eminem has been on the street corners of Newark, New Jersey. He's been a part of the Outsiders. He's worked with the Fugees, you know, MCs, hood cats. Like, this dude's gone through the fire, not just in Detroit. And we talking young Eminem, he's a kid.
Right.
Not just in Detroit. Worldwide, he's certified. Okay, you talking about Dave Mays and Benzino and Mouse Jones. Okay, Eminem did some shit that nobody could do. And the whole, oh, he's white. You know how many white rappers there are that nobody give a fuck about?
Now, but listen, I will say this. Many people defended him in that
No,
conversation.
but I'm gonna do it here because this is our podcast, and I need our listeners because we don't know the disposition of our listeners. You know what I'm saying? They might just hear the one side, and this is why I just want to make sure that I make it historically accurate. When Eminem hit the scene, he was the hottest shit out. Period. Every
Facts.
song, Slim Shady, crazy. Marshall Mathers, crazy. Like, and then Chronic 2001, his contributions to other people's albums, 8 Mile, etc. Cultural phenomenon. You know what I'm saying? Nobody was like, "Oh man, you know, it's a white guy," and if they did, it was very, very, very low key.
Right. Nobody cared.
Nobody was
nice.
saying shit about Marshall.
He was nice
at all. That shit
came. And he brought something to commercial hip hop that just wasn't there. Like, he was having fun.
But he also brought an authenticity.
Yeah.
Right? He wasn't trying to be black. He was being himself. He was being a white dude from the suburbs. He's been a white dude from the trailer park. He gave you an end to what white American white teenagers went through. And he did it along with his black homies, who he also helped succeed tremendously. Please remember that D12 went platinum.
On the strength of M. No disrespect to everybody else, but people went and fucked with D12 because they were already fans of Eminem.
Launched careers of some of my favorite people, including like Royce, like Denon, like 50. Exactly. Like he's, you know, and this is why 50 Cent always goes to bat for M. Yeah, that's why he said, "Yo, M, you know, you're my favorite white boy." And y'all don't remember that was the beginning of Patiently Waiting. But anyway, you know, to sit here and revise history, you know, and maybe we don't want to hear Eminem today. And I'm gonna be honest, I love the B-sides, so y'all can fuck off. But to sit here and act like Eminem can't rap or he's not that great, man, listen, it wasn't nobody trying to see Eminem. And I'm gonna be honest, ain't none of y'all niggas still trying to see Eminem right now in a rap off. So let's stop. Let's put all that shit to bed. If he's a legacy artist, let's call him that. Let's say his best days are behind him, but we're not gonna pretend like M got some special pass because he was a white dude. If anything,
no, that's absolutely inaccurate. Like that, I would never say that because, like you said, we've seen a whole bunch of people come after him that did not attain that level of success, and then we've seen the industry try to change up. Definitely an effort to purposely seek out white rappers who didn't come from, you know, who didn't have a background where they were, or, you know, where they were super black adjacent. Like they weren't from an inner city. They weren't part of a black crew, whatever.
Oh, they tried to remake Eminem.
Yes, and they also try to distance it. You know what I'm saying? Because if you look at some of the artists that have come behind them and their backstories, their backstories are not like Eminem's. But just to be clear, once again, like I don't take nothing away from him. Me personally.
I just think it's weird, man. A dude that, you know, Dave Mays, like really,
right. That shit was bro, that part of it was funny.
Eminem has put more money in niggas' pockets than you could ever think of.
Right.
Dave Mays. But you know, and I'm not one to even try to downplay Dave Mays and what he's done. You know, but I know when the fuck shit started. I used to read The Source. The Source was the Bible.
Right.
Until it wasn't.
And that was my thing, is like I said, because he was in that conversation about The Source and he carried himself a certain way. I sat on a panel with him at A3C a few years ago and he carried himself a certain way. To see him just go like left like this was nuts. Like it was, I think that's what made it so funny. Was that like he's the last person on earth that you would expect to even come out and say something like that?
Why would you come in the room with Royce, the motherfucking 5'9" from motherfucking Detroit, Michigan, one half of Bad Meets Evil, and think you gonna say all this dumb shit?
Right.
That's the part that kills me. It's the gall, the unmitigated gall of people like him. That's how much you
believe in what he was saying.
It's not.
But look, right? So then fucking Macklemore comes in. And so they asked Macklemore, they're like, you know, well, Dave Mays said that as a white rapper, like you should do something to give back to the community. How do you feel about that? And poor Macklemore, who had clearly not been in a room long enough to see that the tone of the room was a very like jokey, laughy one.
He got set up.
Gave us a whole speech. Nobody clowned him, but he gave a whole like Black Lives Matter acceptance speech. And and then
hey man,
like,
better safe than sorry.
I feel like somebody may have muted him or whatever. Or somebody said to him, like, you might want to go back on mute before the room like turns on you. And before any of us could even blink, Macklemore was back out of that room. That shit, the way he disappeared out that room was the funniest shit ever. So yeah, that was my one. But like that also reminded me that I can't fuck with y'all, and y'all not gonna keep me up in no fucking rooms till 4 o'clock in the morning. It's just not happening.
Because you just look up and all of a sudden your ass been there forever.
Yo, I was up till 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah,
on a school night, laughing my ass off at like 2 something, cackling. Shit was hilarious. Anyway, I wanted to bring that up, one, because I thought it was hilarious, but mainly because of the fact that like M sold Matt records last year. He dropped 2 albums, technically, because you know the B-sides is a whole different album than Music to Get Murdered By. And let's see, all of his other music like kind of shot up on the charts because of it. And so if you're interested in those kinds of numbers, when you look at his Spotify Wrapped for last year, 4.1 billion streams, 139.8 million people in 92 countries spent 321.9 million hours listening to Eminem just on Spotify last year.
Right.
So obviously, you know, it's a whole lot of, and I don't think I've ever been one of those people that say that there's not a whole bunch of people that fuck with him. I don't even think I've ever said that he wasn't nice. I just said that I've never been as crazy about him as y'all are.
And let's be clear, the y'all you're referring to is his rabid fan base, because you know
the y'all I'm referring to is the people that love Renegade and think that he killed Jay-Z on that song.
Well, that's
y'all I'm referring
first of all, that shit was a device that Nas planted into y'all heads to make it a point of conversation. Because I'll argue that before that, nobody really gave a fuck about that, you know, to a degree. You wasn't really arguing about, oh man, you was on that song. Nobody was like the one dude from Group Home killed the other dude from Group Home on that record. You know, nobody cared about that shit. Nas little punk ass started that shit, and then he ran with it, and then everybody was like, "Oh, you got killed on your own song." So,
but Jay said it to Nas too, which is hilarious.
That was cute. Of course he did. You know, Uchi Wally. You know, because you was rapping with your bodyguard. And that was cool. You know, it was cute back.
But I know sun don't shine if sun don't shine.
But that became a part of the culture from that point forward, and that's how important that statement was. I'm gonna be honest, my favorite Renegade is the one with Royce. That's no slight to Jay-Z, because I love Jay's verse, because Jay's verse, if you listen to it, and this is for niggas who don't listen to Jay-Z, Jay is saying some shit. He's telling a very dope story. I love Renegade. I love that whole album. You know what I'm saying? It's not just about Renegade. I love that album. I love what Jay's saying. I love what M's saying. For me, it's a great story that's being told on that record. But I'm not the diehard Marshall fan. I'm not going to see my therapist because I think Marshall's my cousin, you know, or I'm not jumping into Don Porter's mentions, you know, tell Marshall to call me, you know, and all that kind of shit. I'm not that person. I'm not the rabid, and like his fan base is rabid.
Where we get the word stands from.
That's where Stan comes from. He invented the word Stan. So, you know, yeah, I can't love Eminem the way they do. But as an MC, as a fan of rap, as a fan of music, as somebody who's actually been here and who does not discount the experiences that actually happen in his ears or, in, you know, just in general hip hop space, I'm going to tell you that M is one of the greatest rappers to ever fucking touch a microphone, ever touch a stage, ever put out an album. And right now, if Eminem farted, that shit's going triple platinum in 2020. And we just saw that from Music to Be Murdered By. Because it became, I think it was like the first day stream. It was like the fastest to like a billion or some shit like that. It's crazy that he could still do that. And he did that in January 2020. Then he put out the B-sides at the end of the year and smashed it again. Eminem is one of the highest charting artists in the streaming era. You know what I'm saying? Like,
there was this really cool infographic that somebody did of like the artists who were in the Billboard top 20 or top 10 from like 1960 something to present. And it moves. I think I shared it on our Instagram, but it moves and it shows you like a bar graph and it shows you where the people are. When Eminem became the top artist on that list, one, his little bar was longer than any other artist who had been in the number one position until that point. And then his reign on the top was almost Michael Jackson's levels, if not longer, in terms of him just staying there and not being moved off of that number one position. So, you know, you could say whatever you want about, like, there's no right or wrong when it comes to personal taste. But you know, there are facts. And you can't factually say that Eminem is not one of the greatest artists in hip hop history.
You know, if you don't get it, or like it's the same thing. Like Doom wasn't for everybody. It's a lot of rap that's not for everybody. E40 and Too Short, they're not for everybody. But that don't mean that they're not critically acclaimed and nationally recognized or worldwide recognized. You know what I'm saying? It's always somebody's gonna be like, man, that's not my thing. But I'm just gonna keep it a bean. Because he's white, y'all hate this man. Because he was a white man that came into a black space, you know, and because they thought Eminem came to do what Elvis Presley did. You know, they thought he came to erase black people in hip hop. And
did people really think that?
Absolutely. And that was
because I feel like the narrative that was always presented to me of Eminem was no. He's down. Like, he's with us.
Nah, but what I'm saying is his haters. That was the whispers.
Gotcha.
For years. That's what. Oh yeah, but be careful. And once again, as time went on, Eminem became more of a legacy artist for some people. I don't know how you call him that, but you know, as his career got further and further along, people started to say that with a lot more, chest out. You know what I'm saying? So
right. And I think that also has to do with just like the progression of time too, like where we are culturally in terms of people being louder and wronger about that.
Well, yeah, and also, you know, all these haters, all these old niggas, you know, that were mad at Eminem, they got these little platforms right now, you know, so they can jump on their Twitter, their Facebook, whatever, and you know, slander Eminem. Eminem don't care, bro. Not he really about y'all. Care. You know, Eminem
he's absolutely doing his thing,
and that's what y'all gotta understand, like. You know, you throwing stones at a giant, man. You throwing stones at a giant. So those conversations are cute. But, you know, shout to Royce for handling it that way. This is his man. And this is why I don't get into these discussions, especially when people are talking about my people. I've been on Clubhouse and niggas have been making fun of my city. And some of the stuff was funny. Some of it was a little ignorant. And I had to remind niggas like, whoa. I'm a real Philly nigga. We not gonna do this right now. You know, but I get it. I understand. I understand when it's jokes and fun, when people make fun of Atlanta, or, you know, y'all got the COVID cure and this, that, and the third, you know, and it's just like, it's a little ignorant, but it's also like, bro, you see me here, right? You know what I'm saying? So at the same time, it's about respect. And for somebody to try to disrespect Royce in that manner, that's the clown shit. That's why you the clown, nigga.
Right.
So that's why Mouse Jones is a clown nigga, and that's Dave Mays. Who gives a fuck about Dave Mays?
I feel like Mouse was trolling a little bit because the conversation with Mouse also went to like, Mouse, if you had to choose between between Larry Bird and they said like some obscure, obviously not as great basketball player, who would you choose? And Mouse was just like, oh yeah, I'm a bet on black every time. So I think that was kind of part of a shtick that he was doing too.
But to be honest, those tired Negro jokes, like I said, they come from these hating ass niggas. What's the dude, Lord Jamar? Like, it come from Lord Jamar ass niggas. These haters who want to laugh and smile and tongue in cheek say the shit that they really mean. And this is why people like me are never gonna get them a pass for it. And you know, like Roy said, Mouse is entitled to his opinion. He's entitled to say it, whatever, etc. It didn't really get disrespectful for me until Dave came in and added his "I really hate Eminem." I got years of Eminem hate on my chest. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna come and add fuel to what might have been a lighthearted, tongue-in-cheek, troll session. And that's where the shit went left.
It was still very much like we all laughed our asses off at Mr. Mays. Anyway, speaking of ridiculous ass, huh?
I said, of course.
Yeah, it was fucking hilarious to all of us. Speaking of ridiculous rap things that people have said this week, Missy Elliott had the audacity, and I love Missy, I really do, to try to tell us that "Oops, Oh My" by Tweet was not a song about masturbation.
Come on, Missy.
Okay. Missy said that the song that contains, I'm trying to pull up the lyrics, and I'm sure like those lyrics have done numbers this week just because she said that shit. The song that said, hold on a second.
Tell you what I did last night. I came home, say around 2:45, still so high, hypnotized, in a trance from the start. So butter and brown and tantalizing. You would have thought I needed help from this feeling that I felt. So shook, I had to catch my breath.
Yeah.
Oops, there goes my shirt.
There goes my shirt over my head.
Skirt down to the feet. Some kind of touch caressing my face. I'm turning red. Who could this be? I tried and I tried, but this thing was happening. Swallow my pride, let it ride and party. But this body felt just like mine.
Okay.
So now, is it her and somebody else, or is it just her?
Missy said that the song was about her appreciating her dark skin.
Let's see, get the fuck out of here.
That she read, and then that when she looked in the mirror, and it was the listeners that thought it was about sex and just ran with it. I really want. And this happened because somebody tweeted a picture of Tweet and said masturbation, but make it a bop.
I mean, I get it. Maybe it was supposed to be innuendo or whatever.
No, but that's my thing. Like, it was innuendo. It was very, very classily done. But we all know what the fuck that song was about, bro. Why are you playing? And nobody's mad that that's what it was about.
But, yeah, okay. You got it.
And, apparently somebody dug up a video of Tweet saying that in an interview. And I just feel like that's very 90s PR strategy with the image that they were trying to cultivate of her.
Why would you take your clothes off okay, whatever, Missy.
To appreciate the beauty of your brown skin.
Bye, Missy.
Sure thing. All right, let's see. There is a list on Hip Hop DX of the most disappointing albums of 2020.
Really?
Uh-huh. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Did you share it?
Albums on here. The first one on here I'm not going to say because
did you share it with me?
Yes, the link's in there. It should be in there. No, I might not have popped. I'm about to pop it in there.
Okay.
The second, and they didn't put them like in any particular. They didn't number them or anything. At the top is the Canadian.
No, that's the wrong. I'm like, who are these people? HHGA. How's that?
Huh?
Okay, yeah, drop it for me because I don't see it. I got this bootleg site, Hip Hop Golden Age.
Oh, why they gotta be bootleg? They love the golden age of rap.
Yeah, whatever. They said Infamy was in the top 20 disappointing albums from elite artists. Infamy, imagine that.
On DX's list are the Babies. Blame It on Baby.
Absolutely true.
I think a lot of people felt like that. They said the 2 Chainz TRU No Face No Case was disappointing. I didn't realize that people were that excited about it.
Yeah, I don't think that was anticipated at all. Like, it wasn't disappointing. Nobody really, okay.
Nobody really knows the guys that are on TRU.
So, okay. I'll take Drake, Davies, Lil Uzi, and Future. And I'm just saying. No. I'm just saying those are the ones that even deserve to be discussed. Because the rest of this list doesn't even deserve to be discussed. Maybe Trippie Redd if you really care.
I don't know how Blueface could have disappointed you. Like, what were your expectations of Blueface?
That's what I'm talking about. I'm looking at this list and I'm
So
like,
let me read the list for the listeners.
and
So
that means after the baby. So go ahead.
skipping what's his face in the project that he dropped.
The Canadian nigga who shot somebody.
Okay. You got the Canadian from Munchkinland. The Baby, Blame It on Baby, 2 Chainz and TRU, No Face, No Case, Trippie Redd, Pegasus, Tekashi 6ix9ine, Tattletales, Blueface, Find the Beat, Drake, Dark Lane demo tapes, Dave East, Karma 3, and Lil Uzi Vert and Future, Pluto by Baby Pluto. That's what's on there. They said that Future and Lil Uzi Vert didn't have any chemistry.
What? This where you be like, yo, who wrote this shit?
And that the bars are mediocre, and that they occasionally produce a hit. Hold on.
David Aaron Break.
I don't know who that is.
Okay.
Not familiar. He's new.
I always be wanting to know who these people are.
No, he's not new.
I always be wanting to know who these people are who be talking this shit. Because I mean, it's funny, like, you know, we got so many biases and shit, you know, and a lot of people just ain't aware of their biases. And I'm not saying he's biased. I just be wondering, like, you could tell niggas got agendas or they like a certain kind of music or whatever. You know, they cover a bunch of shit. And, you know, I just took 5 seconds to look at his Instagram and I already see what type of time he on.
Here's the thing. When I was in journalism school, and I know that's not a thing that everybody goes through these days, I was always told that you should seek to review things that you enjoy. Just write about that. Like, write the things that you enjoy. Don't write the things that you're not enjoying.
No, bro, where is this nigga
if you can avoid
from?
it. And the funny thing is that he gave this TRU album a 3.1 out of 5 stars when it dropped. And I don't think 3.1 out of 5 is a bad score, is it?
But the score that he gave them doesn't even. So basically he said 2 Chainz sounds lost. And that at points 2 Chainz was overshadowed by his proteges. Well, to be honest, I mean, it's their project. He's just kind of the assistant. And I'm not saying that he was overshadowed. I heard a couple records. It's a cool project. But also, who the hell was
he did what he was supposed to do. He set up his young niggas. He wasn't supposed to come on there and shine.
But who the hell was supposed to? I don't know. I mean, I live in Atlanta. I was at Scooby's birthday party. I still wasn't. We wasn't anticipating that damn album.
Right. And see, that's the other thing is I would like when you present a list like this, you got to present some kind of criteria.
But this is a guy who, and you know, once again, got these clickbait ass sites and they got to write these 10 artists who shouldn't drop an album. Like he wrote out 10 artists who shouldn't drop an album in 2021. He's getting all the list, clickbaity album articles or whatever. Whatever. Okay, David Allen Break.
Hey, I have a hyphenated name. We're not gonna make fun of people with hyphenated names now.
It's not even hyphenated. It's just one long ass name. David Aaron Break. Like what? Nigga, your name is David Break.
But not like my thing is just like I said, like give me what your criteria are, because I don't know how you can be disappointed from something that you weren't expecting. And then like what are you considering a flop? Like, was it the numbers? Because like you're not showing me numbers here. You say disappointment, like, and then you put Blueface on here. Like, were you expecting Blueface to impress you and shine?
So then he makes a list of rappers who shouldn't drop, and it's just this one was easy. I mean, you just pick people who people don't really like anymore, like Chance the Rapper or Smoke Perp. I don't know why Smoke Perp shouldn't drop an album. Young Boy Never Broke Again shouldn't drop an album. That's fucking stupid. Jordan Lucas, I agree with, but I mean that don't mean that man shouldn't drop an album.
But plenty of people don't agree with you and I about that.
Like it's just weird. Little Pump should go kill herself.
I don't think. Don't say that. I don't think I would put French Montana on a list of people who should never drop an album again.
Kanye West. Listen, me and Kanye.
Or him. Now, I will say this in defense of the platform that this is an editorial. And what an editorial means is that it is pretty much an opinion piece.
Yeah. All these are opinion pieces, but I'm just saying, hip hop journalism is in the fucking toilet anyway. And I just find it funny I find it funny the culture of these bloggers. I've known a lot of these bloggers over the years, fucking nerds. They get a little power and they get the ability to, say a lot of this hot shit. And these kids ain't really from the culture. They're observers. And then don't get me wrong, there are a lot of dope writers who live and breathe this shit. They absolutely love it, and they write some well thought out, amazing pieces, but it's also a lot of like, this is trash. You barely even tried. And they just riding off the wave of whatever they're shock jocks with a pen. So, yeah, cool story, David. Cool story.
All right. I can honestly tell you that I have not listened to any music in 2021 yet. New music.
Nothing came out. I mean, to be honest, like it's been real light. We'll reconvene after this week.
But on music?
Yeah.
Let's see what's coming this month and what's coming up this year that we can be excited about. I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I've been in the house for a really long time. And I'm just in a let me just listen to my same 10 playlists mood these days. Let's see what's happening in January. Yeah, so nothing came out. Well, I mean, I guess it was the first of the year and people were just like, yeah, we don't need a problem just yet. I mean, an album just yet.
And I'm glad. I'm glad people need to take a break, breathe, enjoy the new year. And then you can start dropping your shitty music on us.
Shitty music.
We done?
Griselda is dropping it says soundtrack on Friday. And so that's what I'm trying to figure out if this is like Griselda or if this is like a person named Griselda. Jasmine Sullivan album coming out this Friday. It's called Hotels. I'm here for that. 100% absolutely here for that. And then I just really don't see like I don't feel like there's been conversations about people's projects or about people's music in any kind of excitement around it in the last couple of weeks. Am I tripping?
Not yet. I looked, I saw the charts were light. So Jasmine Sullivan it is. Definitely looking forward to that.
I don't see nothing else in the month of January, bro. Like nothing.
It is what it is.
Very interesting. Do you think people are doing like surprise projects or people just not dropping shit?
I think people did a lot in 2020 and they need to breathe.
They did too much.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Oh, wait, my ear just completely. I guess this is Griselda.
Oh boy.
It's a project called Conflicted. 15 tracks on there. All your faves. Lloyd Banks is also on here. Ransom, Dave East, Boldy James. But I don't know what the movie is. This is from. It's called Conflicted though, so that'll be out on Friday. And Jasmine Sullivan, so you'll have time to catch up on all the music that you need to catch up on because ain't shit else dropping unless it's some mixtapes. But we're here, and I think we'll be dropping on Fridays moving forward. I guess since we're recording on Wednesday night, what you think, Mikey? We doing Fridays or we doing Thursday drops? Did he leave us? I feel like I'm in here by myself. Yo, sis disappeared on us. And all I was doing was closing out the show. Well, you can answer my question then, Mikey, while we're sitting here. Are we back on IG? Or did you leave it off IG? I do not know. I'm just killing dead air. Seeing what's good. You back? Mikey never answered my question. Or did he?
That happened?
Yes. I was trying to figure out if we were dropping on Fridays or Thursdays, but Mikey said Thursdays.
Friday.
So that's what it is. We'll be here. Same bat time, same bat channel. Y'all make sure you follow us. As always, he is at Scissor2155.
And she is at Saint Boogie on everything.
Yes, even Clubhouse. Don't
Even
feel away if I
Clubhouse.
don't follow you back.
And Mikey's on Clubhouse too, so come meet us.
Yes, and the platform, of course, is at Chop Block Pod on Instagram, at the Chop Block Pod on everything else. And next week, hopefully, we'll have some music. Well, I guess we'll have to go back to talking about singles because the album's clearly the one week where I was like, oh, we could just do albums this week.
The wild thing is I didn't see much of, like, it's dry. I'm pretty sure it'll start to populate.
Is it always like this? And it, like that last?
No, it's not. The wild part is 2018 and 2019. It was some pretty big releases. Eminem dropped his album in, I think, January 18th of 2020.
Right. You just said that.
Yeah, like we had stuff to talk about. We'll see. I got to get used to this one. But we'll see. It's
you gotta get used to the one in 2021.
Yeah. So February, is probably gonna be a little bit more.
Yeah, that shit is dry. I'm looking at the 2020 calendar.
Well, I'm looking at February. We got Conway, Florida Georgia Line, Bugsy Malone, Sia. I guess a lot of rap acts have not put in 4 albums. I see a lot of like Travis Scott possibly coming out.
Okay.
So it's about time for him to drop a new album. So
yeah, last year in January we had Selena Gomez, we had Hit Boys Project, we had what's the other one that I just saw that I really, really enjoyed? Mick Jenkins, Vibes Cartel somehow out of prison, like you said, Eminem. Not the Raekwon did a little EP type of thing. But like you said, I feel like, like people did so much and people have, we've kind of been able to act like things were fairly normal because people have still been releasing. But, a lot of people are not outside and they're not going to the studio and are not collaborating and maybe going through what a lot of other creatives all over the world are going through, which is that they're just not in a space to create shit. And that's all right. So I'm sure that America will give us some more wild shit for us to talk about next week when we reconvene, even if there is no music. Right?
There you go. We'll be back.
There you go. We'll holler at y'all next week. Side note, COVID is still COVIDing.
COVID is still
super
COVID.
deadly.
No. I was about to say, COVID is not even just COVIDing. It's COVID-2ing.
It's COVID-2ing. That COVID-2 not super deadly, but super contagious.
Super contagious, not as bad, but super contagious.
But super contagious and still bad. Not as bad as the shit that's gonna kill you. It's still bad. Right. That shit is in Atlanta. I say that to say this. Stay your asses the fuck out of Atlanta, bro. Like your city's locked down. Stay home. So that maybe they could shut our shit down and let us stay.
It's crazy? Because y'all niggas come here and y'all go on a Clubhouse and talk about us.
Right. Or on, travel clubs on Facebook and be like, oh, Atlanta going Atlanta. That shit made me so mad when I saw that shit, bro. No, Atlanta going Atlanta. It's not Atlanta. Atlanta ain't, it's y'all. Anyway. So stay home, wash your hands, cover your mouth, and we'll see you next week. We out.
Peace.